baby, won't you sail with me out on the rolling sea? We'll find some place to go, maybe down to Barbados. It's an island off somewhere in the middle of nowhere, sailing to freedom, you and me.
G'day people, another quality production from Sailing to Freedom. Today, what I'm going to talk to you about is an essential toy that you need on your boat. You have to have toys on your boat, otherwise it's going to be a bit boring, okay? I know a lot of people get on a boat and they sail to an area with internet and they watch Netflix, bake bread, and I don't know what they do. I mean, I've seen people arrive and I haven't seen them leave the boat for a week. I'd starve to death because there's nothing, no food. I'd have to go catch something. But anyway, so what I'm going to talk to you about tonight or today is having a paraglider. Now, people are going, oh, that's a big bit of gear. Well, you can get them quite small. I knew a guy with a hang glider, Wazza from Australia. He was on a 40-foot Crowther. He had a hang glider on the 40-footer. And he would fly these interesting places. I'm not saying where he flew because Australia has strange rules. And when I give you these stories, they're hypothetical. They're not in Australia. Not in Australia. Because apparently it's illegal to fly in certain places. But where I've flown is not in Australia, people. So here's an example. So why is it's an essential piece of kit for fun is, for example, let's look at this island. There's plenty of continental islands around the world that look like this, right? Now let's just say we've got the wind coming along here. Now, so what's the motivation? Well, if you went to an island like this, you'd probably anchor somewhere and you go, I'd like to climb to the top of that mountain, right? You'd want to do that, right? That's going to be a hard slog. And some of these mountains, there's not going to be a trailer. Well, why don't you just fly and get up there? And people go, well, don't I have to climb to the top, find a clearing, and then launch? No, you don't, people. You don't. So, for example, say the wind's coming along here, and let's say it's a sizable continental island that it develops its own sea breeze, okay? So, around 9 or 10 in the morning, you're going to get enough breeze to probably take off, for example, this lower peak here, right? If you left it till about 11 or 12, you could probably take off from these lower peaks here and then climb your way up. The trouble is, you've got to understand that the later you launch it, the compression up high, you could actually get blown over the back here. So if you're anchored over the back, you could maybe hit your boat, but it's not good to land in lee because it's just all the wind will wrap around. It'll just be a mess over the back. So you don't want to do that. So what I advise you do, so you're anchored here, for example. So you could wait till, for example, 11 and launch from here. So you walk from here, you get someone to drop you off at this lovely calm beach here. You walk to here, you get a little bit of height, you push forward, you keep on flying along here, you fly along here. You couldn't get much height because it's not high in itself. But as soon as you got to here, you creep up this mountain, right? So if you launch for, say, 11, you'd test it out here and you'd go, am I penetrating out far enough? You're looking at the sea conditions because that's the beautiful part of flying on the ocean. You can see the weather and the wind strength and the wind direction on the water. So if it starts to get white horses, you're going, well, it's starting to pick up. Oh, I should be landing soon, right? Especially if you're at the top. In fact, if it was white horses and I was at the top, I'd be packing darkies. Oh, let's assume that this cloud bank at the top is not there because that's sort of menacing, all right? So you've got to pick your conditions. So let's say, so it was 11 o'clock, so you test it here, so you launch from here, you'd creep up here, and you fly here. And it's still good fun. You're still flying. You're not necessarily flying to the top, but you launched late. But what you could have done is you could have got up at 8, trudged, walked up to here, and because you're higher, the wind can be less for you to launch and maintain your height. And then you've got the ability to get some height here, possibly get into a little light thermals, lee side thermals here. You'd have to test it carefully. And you could get to the peak and you could fly for maybe an hour or two. Come 11 or 12 though, you'd be always looking at the ocean. and you're looking at the conditions and you're feeling if you can still punch out the front, okay? So if you are losing that ability or it's getting, iffy, well, you certainly land and then you pack up. So I think it's essential. It's essential for me, as I said, in many videos, you got to get your blood pumping, and it's a good way to get your blood pumping because there's probably from here to here, there's, it's a lot of dead ground. You could end up taking it down here. So your sphincter will be going quite a bit. So it's going to get your heart pumping. I mean, there's probably safer ways. You could probably creep along here and maybe go here. And this is a bit difficult because of this dead ground here. But that's the fun in it. You go, oh, is today the day I can jump across this valley and maybe hook in here. It's going to be dirty air because these are sharp peaks, so it's going to rotor around here. But, you got to live a little. So that is why I regard having a paragliding kit as essential, because you can fly beautiful islands like this. Not in Australia. I'm not saying we did it in Australia. I'm not saying Wazza did it either. But there are plenty of places like this, and it's just a lot of fun. On this vein of paragliding, I've added a paragliding video to the end of this.
What a welcome, people!
And it's in Bulgaria, a place called Sopot, and there's a few lessons you can learn if you're interested in doing it. But that's different flying, that's inland flying, which is also a lot of fun. This is probably what you're going to have more when you're sailing, but this is also fun. And you can check out your spearfishing spots when you're up there, and you go and you fly with the eagles. It's bloody awesome. I mean, it literally is awesome. And if you want to have lovely ladies on your boat, you can buy a tandem paraglider, and you can take her to heaven and back after you've taken her to heaven and back earlier on. I'm not talking about flying people. Anyway, there you go. Watch Sopot, learn a few lessons, a few tricks, and get some paragliding gear today.
Whoa, we are at it again. Normally at takeoff, we want the wind to be gently towards the takeoff, but today it is over the back at about 10 to 15 kilometers per hour. It should be okay if the thermals are pumping up in front. You can ride through the rotor and get up and away. Just don't get low, ever, especially hill height or lower, because the wind coming from over the back will push you to the deck in a rather undignified manner. Okay, got it. Get high and stay high. Rock and rolling. No shit, Sherlock. It will be rough where the air from over the back hits the rising thermals out front and changes their direction. If you look up into the clouds, there are already 3 gliders about 400 metres higher than me. Beautiful mountains, nice clouds, sort of getting a bit overdeveloped here and there. Gonna have to be careful here. We've got some overdevelopment for the next 5k just to my left, so I'm just hanging out the front trying to see blue sky. Looking back, some of these clouds are getting some sizable vertical development. Not bad yet, but I think it will pay to be cautious and stick to the front of the clouds. Paraglider pilots like fluffy white clouds with very little vertical development, like this. At the moment we're at this stage here, but it doesn't take long if the conditions are right to get vertical development of more than 1 kilometre, which if you're not careful will have powerful lift and suck you in if you get too close. Of course, at this stage you should be well out of the way or on the ground. Getting near here could have you accelerate upwards at 60 or 70 or 80 kilometres per hour, where you have no hope of getting away from its suck. One paraglider pilot got sucked up to 30,000 feet and survived, but she was lucky. Here is the video. Now, in perfect conditions with nice small fluffy white clouds, I'd be dropping back and flying the peaks of the range over here. Very easy technically, really. So because there is potential for overdevelopment, I'm sticking to the front where I can easily penetrate back to the valley and escape any potential dangerous clouds which are developing right here and other places in the ranges right now. So I'm about 10 kilometres down the range so far, wanting to fly 100 kilometres east. That's the target for today, 100 Ks. Those clouds are certainly getting chunky. If I were flying over the higher range to my left, I would be puckering a lot, to say the least. But having wisdom and knowing the dangers and making thoughtful decisions can get you into clear skies. Of course, in sailing into freedom, most of it is luck and silly tricks and nonsense. And girls.
2200 again. Bloody magnificent. Bloody great. Some of these clouds are about 1 kilometre in depth, you know, high. So that's a little bit disconcerting.
It is nice to fly with someone. You increase your chances of finding the lift and flying for longer. Some of these clouds are getting big, so I will leave the range and punch out to the valley. This glider to my left also sees the danger and is heading for the fluffy clouds in the valley. Do you hear that low, flat, nasty sound in my instruments? That is indicating me falling at 3 or 4 meters per second. That is heavy sink, but it is not surprising that there is a lot of sink today with so much lift in the clouds to my left. You just have to have confidence to push through the sink, and there will be lifts somewhere out front. Make a decision and stick to it, no matter the sink rate. The trouble is, people lose confidence and start changing their minds and start turning in the sink, which is the worst thing you can do. I'm in this area here where a lot of paraglider pilots get put on the deck.
Getting low. I was heading out of the valley, but the cloud started to disintegrate, so I changed my mind. So I've gone across sink twice now. That's not a good thing, but the cloud is literally almost not there now.
So I headed back to the foothills to get some lift. Now there is a kick-ass gorge I would like to visit below. I'm getting good lift of 4 or 5 meters per second up, but it's not surprising with the look of these clouds. I'm keeping to their edge, ready to bail out into the blue if the lift gets too much.
Just having a little snack.
And then the shit hit the fan while trying to hop on these trigger points in front. Remember at the start, stay above range height, don't get low. Well, this is sailing into freedom. Feeling quite high and safe at 2,300 meters, I literally dropped out of the sky and ended up low over this town in about 5 minutes. And the reason is the wind was over the back and rotoring down these valleys, which I got stuck in. I didn't even turn on my head cam because it was a rough glide where at times the glider seemed to have little pressure in it and very little control. Typical rotor stuff. And now I have to climb almost 2 kilometers to get up where I was. And my current lift is about 1 foot per second. It will get better as I get higher though. With the big clouds moving downwind away from the range, I was thinking of heading back to the range, but with such a nice lot of clouds in the valley, why not run with the clouds?
Well, that was a piece of luck. I was only about 150 meters above the houses, maybe 100. And I've been warned about gypsy villages. I mean, I don't know what a gypsy village looks like. It didn't look too bad. I didn't see too many like improvised dwellings, but apparently it's not a good idea to land amongst them. You might get your gear nicked, or you might just end up in a trench.
With the clouds away from the ranges, they are starting to dissipate, as you can see from the ragged shadows on the ground. It isn't really dangerous to fly through the cloud here. Just keep close to an edge to punch away if you get whited out. Here I am pulling down the tips of the glider to reduce my lift. Or of course I can spiral down, which is always fun. See? Safe as houses.
That was a bit of fun. So I'm just riding along the edge, just in a little bit of dribbles, so I can just penetrate out and I'll be in the clear. Just got to keep away from the center of these clouds because I really don't want to get into, you know, I don't want to go up to 4,400 meters. You get complete whiteout, you lose all sense of orientation, and if you can't fly straight, and it's difficult to fly straight because there's all sorts of, you know, bubbles and thermals and downdrafts, you'd be probably weaving around and it'd probably keep you within the cloud. So it's a little bit dangerous, a little disconcerting. Now I've got to make the next cloud. It's a big gap.
This is my halfway point, the town Kazanluk. I was told the gypsies were on the east side of Kazanluk, somewhere around here I'm guessing. Okay, so no landing there. This town has a train station where it's easy to get back to Sopot in about 1.5 hours.
I don't want to go on the range anymore. There's the range behind me. I don't want to go on that range because the wind is actually from the northwest. Unless I hit it and get it high, I'm just going to be in rotor like I was. Just set me down at 4.5 to 3.5 meters per second down. It's crazy. Running out of thermals. I'm only getting 1s to 2s now. Destination ahead.
Not to be a negative Nancy, but I doubt I'll even get to the 83 kilometre mark because the lift is dying as it's late afternoon. And in true sailing into freedom fashion, I thought I had plenty of height of 2,400 metres, so I decided to hit the range again, but I was drilled yet again. If you notice, there are no clouds around in front, even on the range, so the lift is definitely dropping, and I ought to re-evaluate my goal.
Something there, look, birds. Come on. It's a tight thermal. The clouds are disappearing. It's getting blue. I've got clouds behind me, so I'm going to try and fly back to the station because I've only got an hour to catch my train. Because I reckon I'm going to deck it probably somewhere around there. Let's see how we go. See if we can fly back. We're 12k away with 1300 above the deck, 8:1 ratio, optimum glide. It's 10k, we're going to be 2k short, which probably means we're going to be 4k short, so we need some kind of lift. Oh bugger, I just checked the timetable. The train's in 36 minutes. Bugger, I'm going to have to run. Maybe I can land on the tracks and then the train can't pass. Thinking, always thinking, people. It's the Wisdom Channel. Come on, baby. Oh, here we go. Now we're going down. Come on, I got the camera on. Not -3 foot. What?
I reckon we weren't going to make it at all, but then I found a little lift that may just get us there. And this looks like the Gypsies area, so I need to get away from there. I was aiming for this landing here, which was reasonably close to the station, but there were power lines everywhere, and if you can see some, there are definitely ones that you cannot see, especially within the town. Better to land where it is more rural, just to be safe, even though I'd be guest of honour at my own barbecue with the Gypsies.
There's bloody towers all over the place. All right, let's pack up. What a welcome, people. This is Kazanlak, Bulgaria. Hey! Got the fan club still here. I'm not going to make the train, people. I got 6 minutes to cover 2K with 12 kilo on my back and about 30 kids. So it's not going to happen. So it looks like we're spending, maybe play soccer. I don't know how I'm going to get home. Hitchhiking's not good in dark. Hey, there's my train. You go that way? Alright, let the kids lead the way. That way? Alright, let's go. We go across here? Alright, looks like everyone's crossing.
Oh, bugger.
They're all gypsies. I think the kids saved me though. The adults came out and started asking for money, and all the kids wanted to do was get me to the station. How cool is that? The kids saved the day.